Hey guys, so I'm back with another video and today I'm going to be doing a review for you. Basically an overview of all of my blushes because this was something that was requested from a few of you. So I thought I'd just get on and make the video. And I think this is a really good video for me to make because I have really pale skin, as you know, and finding a really nice blush colour for pale skin can be hard, especially if you're looking for a baby pink blush, because I find that the majority of blushes on the market are either kind of terracotta or more of like a neutral pink. But if you have pale skin, a lot of those colours can be really harsh on your skin tone, so finding a really nice blush can be hard. So I'm making this video for people with pale skin, but also anyone that's looking for kind of a really nice pink blush, because that's what I usually use. I'll start off with my MAC ones. I don't have a lot of MAC blushes because I tend to just use like a few blushes from everywhere. I don't use a particular brand. And I'm quite happy with the MAC blushes. The one that was my staple blush for years was Pink Swoon. The colour is something like this. I don't think there's much point in me swatching them because blushes can be quite hard to swatch for video because the colour is not really going to show out. So I'm basically just going to try and show you as well as I can on my camera like that, and I can pretty much tell you how it comes out. So most of the blushes I have are pretty true to colour from what they look like in the packaging. Pink Swoon was my kind of everyday staple blush for so many years, and it is a beautiful blush. It's a Sheertone blush. It's quite sheer, but it's also fairly pigmented. Like, it's shows up really well on the skin. Probably not so much on darker skin, because yes, it is fairly sheer, but I do find that the colour is a really nice cool pink, and it's a great blush by MAC. It's one of, I think, one of the best selling blushes by MAC. And so yeah, if you're looking to get a blush from MAC and you want a baby pink one, Pink Swoon is one that I use for years, and I really do like that one. Now, I love highlighting as well as doing blush on the apples of my cheeks, which is, I use that brush to do it on the apples of my cheeks. I also like a bit of highlight, and MAC used to make the most amazing highlight, and I'm pretty sure it was called Moon Rock or Love Rock or something like that, and it was a beautiful mineralized blush. It was limited edition and it was seriously so beautiful, and it's no longer available, but they released this other one and it's called Hang Loose, and it's basically like this. One part of it is baby pink, and then the bottom part is a very shimmery lilac colour. It doesn't really come out lilac on the skin. It basically, when you mix them together, it just forms a really nice pearly, slightly purple toned pink, and it's very light. So I bought that in place of my other one I used, and I don't know if this is even still available, but MAC obviously realised that that's a product that's really popular, so I think that they're going to continue to bring out limited edition collections that feature a similar kind of colour. So I really do love the Mineralise blushes by MAC. They're really great colours. And some kind of cheaper blushes that I use, which I do really like, are the Bourjois blushes. And when I'm going for more of like a pin-up look and I have red lips, I prefer a slightly more natural, slightly darker pink. And I've got this one, which is one that I use quite a lot. It's Rose, is that du jour? It's number 34 anyway. And that's just like a kind of medium, slightly hot pink with a gold shimmer running through it. And that is a stunning blush. And one thing I like about these ones is it comes with this tiny little scoopy kind of brush with it. And I find that usually the ones that they give you are really quite crap, but this one's not too bad. And then it has a little mirror in it, so you can stick in your bag, do little touch-ups as you go. And these are baked blushes, and they really do last. They're really nice. And another thing about Bourjois products is if you've smelt them, they smell amazing. I don't know how to describe the smell, but they're really beautiful. Almost kind of like shortcake. And I've got this other one which is 48, and this one is a bit more matte, and that's Cendre de Rose Brune 48. I apologise for my really bad pronunciation, but that's just that one there. So it's again like kind of a medium kind of hot pink, but that doesn't have the kind of shimmer running through it. And these are really nice blushes and they're quite affordable, so I do like those and they last forever. Another blush that I use quite a lot that is cheap is actually by Maybelline, and I don't usually buy a lot of Maybelline products, but occasionally they bring out something that is quite good. And this is a Dream Mousse blush in colour number 10, which is Pink Frosting, and that just looks like that. And if you've ever used any of the mousse kind of foundations they brought out, it's pretty much the exact same formula as that. It's just a really soft mousse. It's really easy to blend into the skin. I find that it just blends in really easily, doesn't leave any marks, and it stays on really well because it's kind of a cream, and it has a really nice shimmer running through it. And I'm quite happy with these. As far as like low cost brands go, the Maybelline Dream Mousse blushes are quite good. Moving on to the opposite end of the spectrum as far as prices go. NARS, I love NARS. I seriously adore all NARS products. Not even joking, but NARS is very expensive. But if you're going to buy anything from NARS, I would suggest buying their blushes because firstly, they make colours that are quite unusual, and secondly, the product lasts a long time and you get quite a lot. So the one that I always end up going back to is Angelika by NARS, and it comes in this great little packaging like all NARS products, and that's just Angelika by NARS there. And I probably can't show you that well in the camera, but it's a pretty hot pink and it's got a shimmer, both a gold and kind of silver shimmer running through it, pretty much like glitter. And this is a really pigmented blush. Like all NARS products, or a lot of NARS products, they do pay a lot of attention to their pigmentation of their products, and for that reason you don't need to use very much. So even though you're going to pay $60 or so in Australia for this blush, it will last you longer than so many other blushes because it has such a high colour payoff and you get such a lot of the product. So NARS blushes are amazing, and I'm going to write down a few of my other favourites because I think it's Desire, maybe Matahari, and there's a bright red one as well that they make, which is amazing. So NARS blushes, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the blush that I use pretty much every day, which is my kind of what I use now instead of MAC's Pink Swoon, which is Illamasqua's powder blusher in Nymph. And this is very similar to Pink Swoon. It's just that one there. And the reason why I now use this as my daily blush over Pink Swoon is, firstly, this is a slightly more blue tone pink, whereas the Pink Swoon has a little bit of orange in it, which I don't really like. And also, Illamasqua's blushes are so pigmented. You need the tiniest little bit of colour. I literally tap my brush in and put it on, and amazing colour. You don't need much of this blush. So I've been using this now for about 2 months or so, maybe even more. And I've barely even scraped the surface of that blush. I've barely even touched the surface. So I have a feeling it's going to last me quite a while. And Illamasqua's products are quite reasonable. So if you're looking to get a blush that's going to last you ages and you want a good colour, maybe you can even use Illamasqua instead of NARS, because Illamasqua is a lot cheaper than NARS, but NARS is still really good. But Illamasqua blush is awesome. One of my favourite things that they do. And their cream blushes also are amazing. Such great colour range, like all Illamasqua products. Great range of colours. When I'm going out and I'm doing a really crazy look, sometimes I find that my blushes or whatever I'm using isn't bright and crazy enough for me, so sometimes I even buy large things of hot pink eyeshadow and I actually use that as a blush. And one that I use is Manic Pussy Galore. And that's a really, really bright hot pink eyeshadow. But I use that as a blush quite a lot. And sometimes if you really want to go that extra mile and have a really crazy blush, buy like a pigmented eyeshadow and just use a little bit of that. So Manic Pussy Galore, awesome hot pink colour, great as a blush. Now if you're wanting to do a little bit more of a subtle look, you can always do a tint, which is firstly going to give you a really natural flushed look, but is also going to stay on all day. That's the great thing about tints. You can use them on your eyes and on your lips. And one that I use constantly, but I don't think is available anymore, is this gel blush by MAC, and it's called Just a Pinch. And in the container it appears to be bright red, but when you put it on your skin it actually goes to more of like a kind of flush pink look. And I use that both on my cheeks and on my lips, but as I said, I don't think that's available anymore. But luckily you can get cheek and lip tints from so many different brands. That's just some random brand, I don't even know what it is, but I use that. And I also use this Sugarbaby one, and that one is actually more of like a hot pink, so it's a little bit brighter. And a brand that makes a really fantastic tint is Benefit. Benefit make a really good tint called Benny Tint, and that's perfect for your cheeks, and that's pretty much exactly the same as the MAC one anyway. So a tint is a great way to go if you're going for a more natural look. If you're wanting a more extreme highlight, kind of like you're wanting a more extreme blush, do what I do and use a product that was kind of a little bit heavier. And what I often use for a highlight is a kind of whitey pearl pigment. Pigments are so pigmented, as you get from the name. And this one, I've put a little sticker on it and called it my cheek highlight, but it's actually more intended for the eyes or whatever. But using a product like this and rubbing this onto your cheekbones and wherever else you want to put it as a highlight is going to be a lot more effective than any kind of highlight product that you're going to buy, especially for the cheeks, because it's going to come out a lot brighter. That's something I've just started doing. I've only just kind of worked out that that's a really good idea, using like a pigment as a highlight, but I probably should have thought of that earlier. But anyway, I use pigments as highlights for when I want to do something a little bit more dramatic. And the final product I have to show you, which is something that I very rarely use, but sometimes the occasion calls for it, is my bronzer. And I actually do own a bronzer, but it's an incredibly cool bronzer by Too Faced, and it is the Pink Leopard bronzing powder, and that's what it looks like. So as you can see, it is not that bronze. In fact, it has pink in it as a blush. It's also got this browny shimmer running through it, and then it's got the dark brown, which is more of the bronzer. And it also has a little tray at the bottom there with a brush in it, and that's the bronzer I use. So if you have pale skin and you're wanting to add a little bit of colour to your face without it making your face look dirty, which is often the case with pale people that use bronzing products, then Too Faced Pink Leopard bronzer is excellent, because it's only going to give you a slight bronzed effect while also adding shimmer and a little bit of colour to your cheeks. And I usually apply that with more of a contouring brush. I use more of that kind of brush when I'm wanting to apply my bronzer. And then I usually take a normal brush like this and I will apply blush on the apples of my cheeks over the top of the bronzer. So that's pretty much my blush overview. That's just the blushes I really love, the ones that I use a lot and the ones that I recommend. And as usual, just keep watching and subscribing. Please send any more video requests my way, because I do read them and I will try to make more videos that you want. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for now, and I'll speak to you guys soon.